Grief, the profound emotional response to loss, is a deeply personal and intricate journey. It is a journey that can feel overwhelming and isolating, as if you are navigating through a dense fog with no clear direction. The weight of sorrow can be all-consuming, making it difficult to see beyond the immediate pain. It's a labyrinth with winding paths, unexpected turns, and no single map to guide the way. Each twist and turn can bring new emotions, from anger and frustration to moments of peace and reflection. The path is rarely straightforward, and often it feels like you are taking one step forward and two steps back. Each individual's experience of grief is unique, shaped by their relationship with the deceased, their personality, and their coping mechanisms. Some may find solace in memories and shared stories, while others may struggle to face reminders of their loss. The way we grieve is as individual as our fingerprints, influenced by our past experiences and the support systems we have in place. There's no right or wrong way to grieve, no set timeline for healing. Society often imposes expectations on how we should mourn, but the truth is, grief is a deeply personal process. It is important to allow yourself the space to grieve in your own way, without judgment or pressure to move on quickly. This essay explores the first 3 months following a significant loss, a period often characterized by intense emotional upheaval and the beginning of adjustment to a new reality. During this time, emotions can be raw and unpredictable, and the sense of loss can feel overwhelming. It is a time of profound change, where the absence of a loved one becomes a stark reality. The first 3 months of grief are often described as a roller coaster of emotions. One moment you may feel a sense of numbness, as if you are in a state of shock. The next, waves of sadness and longing can wash over you, leaving you feeling vulnerable and exposed. It is a time of emotional turbulence where the highs and lows can be exhausting. From the initial shock and numbness to the pangs of sadness and acceptance, the bereaved navigate a complex landscape of feelings. Journaling can be a helpful tool during this time, allowing you to express your emotions and reflect on your journey. It can provide a sense of release and help you make sense of the chaos within. This period is not about getting over the loss, but rather learning to live with it. It is about finding ways to integrate the memory of your loved one into your life, honoring their legacy while continuing to move forward. Memorials and rituals can provide comfort and a sense of connection, helping to keep their spirit alive. It's about finding ways to honor the memory of the deceased, while slowly rebuilding a life without their physical presence. Creating a memory scrapbook or holding a special ceremony can be meaningful ways to celebrate their life and keep their memory close. These acts of remembrance can provide a sense of purpose and help you navigate the path of grief. This essay aims to provide insight into the typical emotional, physical, and psychological experiences during these initial months. It seeks to offer a roadmap, not to dictate how you should grieve, but to provide understanding and support. Therapy and support groups can be invaluable resources, offering a safe space to share your feelings and connect with others who are going through similar experiences. It offers practical coping strategies and emphasizes the importance of self-compassion and seeking support. Self-care activities such as yoga, meditation, and mindfulness can help ground you and provide moments of peace amidst the turmoil. Reaching out to friends, family, or support groups can provide a sense of community and remind you that you are not alone in your grief. Remember, grief is a process, not an event, and healing takes time. It is a journey that unfolds at its own pace, and it is important to be patient with yourself. Each day may bring new challenges and small victories, and it is okay to take things one step at a time. It's important to understand that the stages of grief are not linear. You may find yourself moving back and forth between different emotions, and that is perfectly normal. Grief is not a straight path, but a winding road with many detours. You may not experience them in a specific order, and you may revisit certain stages multiple times. Some days you may feel a sense of acceptance, only to be hit by a wave of sadness the next. This ebb and flow of emotions is a natural part of the grieving process. Some stages might be more intense than others, and some might be skipped altogether. This is perfectly normal. Everyone's grief journey is different, and there is no right or wrong way to feel. Allow yourself the freedom to experience your emotions without judgment. Your grief journey is your own. It is a deeply personal experience that cannot be compared to anyone else's. Embrace your unique path, and know that in time, you will find your way through the labyrinth of loss. The first month after a loss is often dominated by shock, denial, and disbelief. The news may feel surreal, as if it's a bad dream you'll soon awaken from. Numbness can set in, creating a sense of detachment from reality. This is a natural defense mechanism, a way for the mind to protect itself from the overwhelming pain of the loss. Denial can manifest in different ways. You might find yourself expecting the deceased to walk through the door or hear their voice on the phone. You might struggle to accept the finality of their absence, clinging to the hope that it's all a mistake. This denial is a temporary coping mechanism, a way to gradually process the devastating reality. Confusion and disorientation are also common during this initial phase. You might feel forgetful, struggle to concentrate, or find it difficult to make decisions. Your mind might race with questions of what if and why, searching for answers that may never come. Physically, you might experience fatigue, insomnia, or changes in appetite. The emotional toll of grief can manifest in physical symptoms, leaving you feeling drained and exhausted. It's important to be kind to yourself during this time and prioritize rest and self-care. As the initial shock begins to subside, a wave of intense emotions may surface during the second month. This period can be particularly challenging as the numbness of the initial shock wears off, leaving you to confront the raw and unfiltered emotions that have been lurking beneath the surface. Pain, anger, and bargaining often take center stage. These emotions can be intense and unpredictable, making it difficult to navigate daily life. You might find yourself swinging from one emotion to another, feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster with no end in sight. The reality of the loss starts to sink in, and the raw emotions can feel overwhelming. It's not uncommon to feel a deep sense of sadness and despair as you come to terms with the permanence of the loss. This realization can be a heavy burden to carry, and it's important to allow yourself the space to grieve. Anger can be directed at various targets: the deceased, oneself, others, even at a higher power. This anger can be confusing and disorienting, especially if you're not used to feeling such intense emotions. It's important to remember that anger is a natural part of the grieving process and can be a healthy way to express the frustration and helplessness you might be feeling. You might feel angry at the person for leaving, at yourself for not doing more, or at others for not understanding your pain. These feelings of anger can be isolating, making it difficult to reach out for support. However, it's crucial to find healthy ways to express and process this anger, whether through talking to a trusted friend, writing in a journal, or engaging in physical activity. This anger is a natural part of the grieving process, a way to express the intense frustration and helplessness you might be feeling. It's a sign that you're beginning to confront the reality of the loss and the impact it has on your life. Allow yourself to feel this anger without judgment, and seek out healthy outlets for its expression. Bargaining is another common experience during this phase. This can manifest as a series of what if and if only statements as you replay past events in your mind and wish you could have done things differently. This is a natural response to the feelings of guilt and regret that often accompany grief. You might find yourself replaying past events wishing you could have done things differently. This can be a painful process as you confront the reality of what has happened and the finality of the loss. It's important to be gentle with yourself during this time and to recognize that these feelings are a normal part of the grieving process. You might even try to make deals with a higher power, promising to change if only the deceased could return. This is a way of trying to regain a sense of control in a situation that feels utterly out of control. It's a natural response to the feelings of helplessness and desperation that often accompany grief. This bargaining is a way of trying to regain control in a situation that feels utterly out of control. Guilt often accompanies bargaining. You might find yourself ruminating on things you said or didn't say, things you did or didn't do, and feeling a deep sense of regret. It's important to recognize that these feelings of guilt are often irrational, and to practice self-compassion during this difficult time. You might blame yourself for things you said or didn't say, things you did or didn't do. This self-blame can be a heavy burden to carry, and it's important to find ways to release it. Talking to a trusted friend or therapist can be helpful, as can engaging in self-care practices that promote healing and self-compassion. It's important to remember that guilt is often irrational, and to practice self-compassion during this difficult time. Allow yourself to feel your emotions without judgment, and seek out support from others who can offer understanding and empathy. Remember that healing is a process, and it's okay to take it one day at a time. Physically, you might experience restlessness, agitation, or body aches. The emotional turmoil can take a toll on your physical well-being, making it difficult to relax or find comfort. It's important to listen to your body and to take care of yourself during this time, whether through gentle exercise, relaxation techniques, or simply allowing yourself to rest. The emotional turmoil can take a toll on your physical well-being, making it difficult to relax or find comfort. It's important to be patient with yourself and to recognize that healing takes time. Seek out support from others and remember that it's okay to ask for help when you need it. You don't have to go through this alone. Section 4. Third month. Glimmers of acceptance and adjustment. The third month often brings a shift towards sadness, acceptance, and the beginnings of adjustment. This period is marked by a deeper understanding of the loss and a gradual movement towards a new normal. The initial shock has worn off, and now, the reality of the situation starts to settle in. The intensity of the initial shock and anger may lessen, replaced by a deep sense of sorrow and loss. This sorrow is often more profound and enduring, as it reflects the depth of the bond you had with the deceased. It's a time when memories flood back, and the absence of the loved one is felt more acutely. While the pain is still present, there may be moments of respite, glimmers of hope, and a growing sense of acceptance. These moments can be fleeting, but are significant as they indicate the beginning of healing. You might find yourself smiling at a memory, or feeling a sense of peace during a quiet moment. Sadness is a natural response to loss, a way of honoring the bond you shared with the deceased. It's a testament to the love and connection that existed. Allowing yourself to feel this sadness is crucial for healing. It's a way to process the loss and begin to integrate it into your life. It's important to allow yourself to feel this sadness, to cry, to mourn. Crying can be a release, a way to let out the pent-up emotions that have been building up. It's a natural and healthy part of the grieving process. Suppressing these emotions can prolong the grieving process. When you hold back your feelings, they don't go away. They linger and can resurface later, often more intensely. It's better to face them head-on, to acknowledge and express them. Acceptance doesn't mean forgetting or moving on. It means acknowledging the reality of the loss and beginning to adapt to a life without the deceased. It's about finding a way to live with the loss, to carry the memory of the loved one with you as you move forward. Finding meaning in the loss can also emerge during this phase. You might start to see how the experience has changed you, how it has shaped your perspective on life. This can be a time of personal growth and reflection. You might begin to reflect on the impact the deceased had on your life, the lessons they taught you, and the memories you shared. These reflections can bring a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the time you had together. This process of finding meaning can be a source of comfort and strength. It can help you to see the positive aspects of the relationship and the ways in which the deceased continues to influence your life. Physically, you might experience emotional exhaustion and sleep disturbances. The emotional toll of grief can manifest in physical symptoms, making it difficult to rest and recharge. The emotional roller coaster of the past few months can leave you feeling drained and depleted. It's important to recognize these physical symptoms and take steps to care for your body as well as your mind. Continuing to prioritize self-care is crucial during this time. This can include activities like meditation, spending time in nature, or seeking support from friends and loved ones. Taking care of yourself is not a sign of weakness. It's a necessary part of the healing process. Section 5. The unpredictability of grief, a personal journey. It's crucial to remember that grief is not a linear process. There's no set timeline for healing, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach. You might experience these stages in a different order, revisit earlier stages, or skip some stages altogether. Your grief journey is unique to you. Comparison can be a thief of joy, especially during grief. Avoid comparing your experience to others or judging yourself for not grieving correctly. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. Allow yourself to feel your emotions fully, without judgment or self-criticism. The intensity and duration of each stage can also vary greatly. Some people might experience intense grief for a short period, while others might experience a more gradual, long-lasting grief. Both are valid expressions of loss. It's important to be patient with yourself and allow the grieving process to unfold naturally. Don't try to force healing or rush through the stages. Grief takes time and there's no shortcut to healing. Section 6. Coping mechanisms, tools for traversing the darkness. Coping mechanisms are essential tools for navigating the challenging terrain of grief. They can help you manage your emotions, find moments of peace, and slowly begin to rebuild your life. These mechanisms can be practical, emotional, or spiritual, and what works for one person might not work for another. Journaling can be a powerful way to process your emotions and express your thoughts and feelings. Writing can provide a safe space to explore your grief without judgment or fear of burdening others. It can also be a way to track your progress and identify patterns in your emotional landscape. Talking about the loss with trusted friends, family members, or a therapist can provide much-needed support and validation. Sharing your grief with others can help you feel less alone and more understood. If you're struggling to find support within your social circle, consider joining a grief support group. Engaging in physical activities such as walking, yoga, or swimming can be a healthy way to release emotional tension and improve your mood. Exercise releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects. Physical activity can also provide a welcome distraction from the intensity of your grief. If you found this video helpful, please comment, subscribe, and like the video. Your support helps us create more content like this.